Aloha from Hawaii. Welcome to our Thursday night class, Quiet Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center. Our Dharma name is Kagyu Tupten Cho Ling. Tube means Buddha in Sanskrit, Tibetan. 10 means doctrine. Chur, or Cho, means offering. Ling means place. So our Dharma Center is Tupten Cho Ling. And my name is Lama Tashi, and we do this class every Thursday night, 6 to 8 o'clock, and it is recorded and put on our website, quietdharma.org. Tonight we're going to do what is called contemplation practices. And the contemplation practices tonight are based on what is called the two bodhicittas, which are unique in Tibetan Sanskrit. And in the practice of these two, bodhi means Buddha or pure mind, citta means consciousness. In the practice of these in Tibetan Buddhism, in tantric practice, they have what is called the four ordinary preliminary practices, which enforces one or inspires one to practice these practices. And following these four ordinary preliminary or foundation practices are the four extraordinary practices, which are called Nungdro. And all of this is in text form, and all of this is how I started to do these practices in 1977 with the instruction and teachings of Kala Rinpoche and my teacher who was in Honolulu, Lama Rinpoche. When we practice, period, we have to know these four ordinary preliminary practices, because if you don't understand them, the practice of Tibetan Buddhism, Sutra, and Tantric practices can be counterproductive. By not knowing these four practices and not knowing that in mindfulness you must keep the two bodhicittas in mind, the relative and ultimate, what we call motivation, in mind. That's what we call mindfulness. Why do I use the word contemplation? Is because in comparison to meditation, which uses symbols or objects, contemplation does not. It's simply about an idea, a concept that is so powerful that it by itself changes the direction of your consciousness from more and more suffering to less and less. In other words, from an unhealthy way of being to a healthy way of being. So, before I start that tonight, we should do the refuge. All Tibetan Buddhist practice starts with refuge, then these four thoughts that I'm going to give the teachings on tonight follow. The first thought in the refuge is that in order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, who we consider all of them to be our mothers, past, present, and future, we now altogether take refuge and offer prostration. So when we take this refuge, that thought is in the refuge and the bodhicitta, bodhisattva practices of discipline, and all of the sutra and tantric tradition. We're going to chant the Tibetan refuge together. Alden Lama Dhamma Nam Lam Chansu Chio Vedam Chokor Gilaso Nam Lam Chansu Chio Sanjay Chom Dende Nam Lam Chansu Chio How big and do Chaksu Shio How Kandro Chokyo Shome Shoye Sheki Shendang Tempa Namla Chaksu Shio. Again. Amen. Mama Dhamma Namla Chaksu Shio Yedam Chokorgi Laso Namla Chaksu Shio Sanjay Chodam Chogi Namla Chaksu Shio Dambe Namla Chaksu Shio Dambe Gendu Namla Chaksu Shio Gao Kandro Chokchu Sume Choe Sheki Shendang Tempa Namla Chaksu Shio. In the Bodhisattva prayer, Sanjay Shodam Choki Choknam La Chechu Bargu Choki Chaksu Chi Dani Jenso Chikram Soram Ki Tola Penche Sanjay Jupar Again. Sanjay Chodam Choki Sonam La Chechu Bargu Kaki Chaksu Chi Nagi Junso Chikwe Sonam Pi Chola Tenchen Sanjay Rupar So. Now the first, the altruistic motivation, I'm going to chant it. It's not on in the refuge prayer text. I'm chanting this so that the spirits know what we are doing. Dagdang Joa Nampe Tadang Yampe Shem Shem Tamche Judine Junte Jisi Jenshu Nimpo Lachi Ki Bardu. Then we'll say the refuge prayer in English. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the idams, the deities gathered in our mandala. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha. And we go for refuge to all the doctors and dakinis who are the protectors and defenders of Dharma. All of these possessing the eye of transcending awareness. To the Buddha, in the Bodhisattva prayer, to the Buddha, Dharma, and this Supreme Assembly, we go for refuge into enlightenment. May I, through the merit gained from practicing the 6 perfections, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. Now those prayers start the beginning of each session. So if you have 6 sessions a day, you should chant the refuge and bodhicitta prayer at least once, they say 3 times before each session. And also sometimes they do what is called the lineage prayers, which means to invite all the lineage masters into your session. You will chant from Buddha Shakyamuni, all the teachers down to the present day. And when you say their names, they say that causes them to be more present. Now, in the practice of Tibetan Buddhism, with these 6 refuges and 6 Bodhisattva discipline practices to start with, it's all about loving kindness and compassion. And That's the first, what we call bodhicitta, the bodhisattva mind training idea. And what it simply means is this is extended, this act of loving kindness is extended to all beings as if they were your family or mother or child in existence. And so that would be all the animals, all the spirits, and all the humans that inhabit our universe. And animals and humans, of course, take birth on planets throughout the universe. And spirits are everywhere, in space and in everything, in you and everything. Now, the loving kindness is extended unconditionally, which is a new word, especially in our society, our world society. Unconditional, it's very simple to understand. It's like the mother's care for her only children. And it extends, you can see that, into the animal world, and in some cases, the spirit world. But this loving kindness is combined with altruistic compassion. That means that you are skillfully alleviating their pain and suffering. Whose pain and suffering? All the humans, all the animals, and all the spirits. And at the same time, in the human condition, training humans to understand their true nature, their natural mind, and how to use it. So those are the two commitments, or what we call samaya, S-A-M-A-Y-A, samaya or samaya, commitment of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And I'm going to read from Lama Rinpoche's book, The Story of All of Us, which we send 10 copies of this to each of the Dharma centers here in Hawaii. And they sell out just as fast as we do that. The first one, this one is on page 29. And it's under this loving kindness and compassion title by Lama Rinpoche. And he says, it is difficult to say in words how important loving kindness and compassion are in spiritual development. Loving kindness is needed if we expect the compassionate mind to arise and develop. True compassion is a profound development, and it arises out of a sincere inner attitude based on unconditional loving kindness. When we begin to think of moving our thoughts away from the ordinary thinking of the drama world, we should first develop this idea of loving kindness. If we do this, compassion will follow. When we are truly practicing Dharma, and the key word here is practicing, rather than trying to impress others with how much we know and what we can do, we will have more of a developed insight into our true nature. And in this way, we will express ourselves spontaneously with loving kindness and compassion. So there's a lot more in this chapter of this book, but this is going to be the basis of this teaching, which comes from the Nungro. Now, this is a Nungro text we made for Dharma practitioners, and it actually should be given as an empowerment. In other words, with the oral transmission of the Lama. But only one part of it really requires that, and that's the second part of purification using the deity yoga of Vajrasattva. They say Dorje Sampa. But at the very first part of this text, thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma, which they call the 4 ordinary preliminary practices, must be understood for the rest of the 4 extraordinary practices to take part. And I'll give you an example how important this is. In the 40-month retreat, when you start the retreat, Kala Rinpoche insisted that 1 week of 4 2.5-hour sessions a day be spent on contemplating one of these 4 ordinary preliminary practices. So that's a 28-day session, 10 hours a day. So that's 10 times 28 hours put into just contemplating this one practice, this one actually thought, this concept. And I'm going to read it to you the way it is in the text. That gets it rolling. And in this text, of course, it's in Tibetan, and then the translation is underneath. But this one starts off this way. This precious human body, which is free and well endowed, should be contemplated as extremely rare. In other words, in the human condition, 1 out of 1 billion people will have this thought. 1. And that's 8 people.
Wow. Amazing.
So without this transmission, the rest of the human race is out in the cold. But it goes like this. The precious human body, which is free and well endowed, is your first thought to contemplate as a practicing bodhisattva. First, we must contemplate on this precious human existence, which is free from the 8 unfavorable conditions and well endowed with 10 opportunities. It is difficult to obtain and easily destroyed. So from now on, we must make use of them. That's all it says. So you got to take it from there with the oral transmission of the Lama. So here it comes. 8 conditions. 8 ordinary conditions are, first of all, like not being born as an animal, not being born as a spirit, not being born as somebody practicing other than the wisdom of the Dharma, and having what we call the inclination to connect with the teacher, to connect with these teachings, the ability, the leisure time, are you with me? And the support, which is absolutely necessary, or you can't do this. Now that leaves out another 7.5 billion people. I'm laughing because we're all in the same boat together. You know, Lama Rinpoche's book, The Story of All of Us, simply means that. All of it. So, all the animals, all the humans, and all the spirits. We're working here with the human condition. And we're working with those that have extremely good karma to have met with the Dharma. That makes it a precious human existence. Without that connection, it's not a precious human existence. It's a good human existence. It's good to be human because you have the potential. But to actually access it, that's precious. And then to come up with the idea that you're going to do these practices for the benefit of all living beings, and you're going to use all 6 supports, not just the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, but also the Lama, deities, and protectors. That's unique. And then to start off right away with the 6 disciplines of the Bodhisattva, which should already be in place as a human being, which are simply generosity, morality, ethics, perseverance in practicing those, perseverance in practicing meditation, and perseverance in connecting to your natural mind, which is ultimate bodhicitta. So, ordinary or relative bodhicitta is everything, all the Dharma. The ultimate bodhicitta is teaching people, humans, how to connect to their true nature and then how to use it. That's unbelievable. This has never happened in the Western world before the Chinese came in and kicked the Tibetan Lamas out of Tibet. This just wasn't available. So here we are. It's not only that we have a precious human existence, we have a precious opportunity to do this. So that's number one. That's the first ordinary one. Now, for 10 hours a day, you chew on that. Well, in Karmapa's book, The Ocean of Certainty, the very beginning part of the book, is that right? There's chapters, whole chapters on just this one ordinary preliminary practice. So there's much to contemplate. So I'll give you an idea how you do this. Sit with your back straight, just like meditation. But it's not meditation. You're not using an object. You're using a concept. Back straight, head tilted, hands on the knees or in the lap. Mouth closed, tongue resting against the palate. Eyes focused to the space in front. Disconnect from all worldly activities of body, speech, and mind by bringing your focus to your breath. And simply watch your inhale and exhale of your breath. You will notice yourself settling into a state of calm, they say calm abiding, sunyata in Sanskrit. It simply means to settle into a state of peace and tranquility. Then contemplate that you have a precious human existence with the oral transmission and support of a teacher, and that you should practice now, today. And what are you going to contemplate? You're going to contemplate that you have this very unique situation to obtain perfect wisdom. That's what Dharma, the word Dharma means mother of life, which translates into perfect wisdom. Insight. Insight into what? Your true nature, which is the antidote to your drama mind. You have this connection. That's number one. You have the ability. That's number two. You have the leisure time. And if you don't, the Lama will show you how to drive a wedge into your time schedule. That's number three. And you have the support of thousands of teachers and students doing exactly this. Contemplating their precious human existence and that they should use it now to benefit others, all others. So we ponder this. In Tibet, they say, you chew on this concept like a dog chewing on a bone. And as you ponder this, you'll come up with different ways of saying the same thing. For instance, contemplating your present human existence, you think that now is the time for you to start alleviating the pain and suffering of other human beings, animals, and spirit. And not only alleviating their suffering and pain, but teach them how to remove their judgmental mind and gain ultimate enlightenment. The natural state that already exists in each and every one of our consciousness. It cannot be found outside. And how you keep returning to this same subject matter, this same concept, is by reminding yourself that you have a precious human existence and you should use it to benefit others now, today, this life. The next thought that of the four ordinary preliminary practices that inspire one to practice Dharma, I'll read it to you. It's called Impermanence and Death. Nobody likes this one. But from the moment you came into this world, you are facing death. Everything is impermanent. This whole world and all it contains. I'm reading it. In particular, the life of beings is as fragile as a bubble in water. The time of death is uncertain. And when dead, there will be nothing left but a corpse. At that time, only the Dharma, your own mind of wisdom, is of benefit. So let us practice diligently now before it is too late. That's all. That's the second ordinary preliminary practice. And so for 10 hours a day, for 28 days, you contemplate this idea, this thought, this concept of impermanence. Now, Lama Rinchen has a really cut-through way of saying it. He told me, he says, think of it this way. You don't know what comes first, your next breath or the next life. That's all he said. And it's in his book, The Story of All. And you keep that thought in mind. That's called mindfulness. That's what Tibetan Buddhists call mindfulness. They don't think about some airy, fairy, pie in the sky, know everything, omniscient, can do anything, walk on water and so forth. No. All they're contemplating is the situation just as it is. For everybody. The spirits, they have long lives, but they're terminal. You know for sure the animals and humans are short life. So now you have 228 days, 10 hours a day to contemplate them in a 40-month retreat. This is before you get into any of the extraordinary practices, the sutras and tantras. Okay? So we're going to do that just for a few minutes. Contemplate, not meditate. You don't have to focus. You just keep returning the mind to what Lama Rinchen said. You don't know what comes first, the next breath or the next life, and you get so powerful with that that it never leaves your thought. You wake up in the middle of the night, am I still alive? Am I still breathing? Wake up in the morning. Oh yeah, I'm still in the body. You know how you can tell? You pinch your skin. If it stays up, you're dead.
If you were dead, you couldn't pinch.
Yeah, just to make sure. So it's not pinching. See if the skin will go back to its original. That's not original. Yeah, check your skin. They have all kinds of ways of checking to make sure that the teachers are consciousness have left their body, because some of the teachers take a long time to exit the body, even though the hearts stop beating and they're not breathing, but they're still in there. They're still in their core.
There is a lama, and I think it's some part of Russia, that's been doing that for over 30 years now.
So
His corpse is so warm.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you pinch the skin, it doesn't go back.
I don't know about that. They're studying.
I've heard about that. That's really exciting. So anyway, hands on your knees, back straight, head tilted a little bit, mouth closed, tongue resting against the palate, eyes focused to the space and light right in front. Just soften your gaze, because this is your true mind right here. This is how everything really is. This is how this universe is. This is how your consciousness is. So let that energy come in. And then, impermanent. The second ordinary preliminary practice of Tantra. And of course, why are you doing this? Contemplating impermanence is to inspire yourself to do your practice 24/7, every day, preparing for the eventuality of you leaving this body. Everything is impermanent. This entire universe and your own life, and soon to disappear. And now we'll contemplate the third of the four thoughts of the ordinary preliminary practices. This one, on this planet, which is called the reject planet, this is the reason the lamas call this planet the reject planet. This is the reason. And it is called, in a word, karma. Nobody believes in karma. none of the religions, including some of the Buddhist tradition. Okay? And this one is so important because it affects everything that you say, think, and do, or have said, thought, and did in the past life. Everything. And it goes like this in the text. Cause and effect. Karma. Thirdly, at the time of death, we do not obtain freedom because our previous actions take control of them. These are called tendencies. Therefore, let us abandon all harmful actions of body, speech, and mind and use our time to carry out beneficial activities each and every day for the rest of our life. Let us examine the stream of our being. That's it. So for 10 hours, 7 days a week, for the next 4 weeks, in a 40-month retreat, you have to chew on that concept. So we call it contemplation. You can say meditation, but because you have to keep bringing your mind back to the key word karma, cause, and the effect, which is very simple. Everything you say, think, and do now affects this life and all your future life. Therefore, you must abandon all the tendencies of negative thought or harmful thought, all the tendencies that cause negative or harmful speech, and all of the tendencies that would harm yourself through your actions, or others, or the environment. Remove all judgment of others that do not know or believe in karma. If you do that, loving kindness and compassion will arise for them. And the fourth of the four thoughts that turn the mind to practice Dharma and obtain wisdom or insight is the most complicated. But at the same time, all of us are in this predicament. And it goes like this. In this human condition, the defects of cyclic existence are obvious. For instance, all places, friends, joys, and possessions in this cycle of existence continually torment us because of the three types of suffering. They are like a feast offered by the executioner when he leads us to our execution. So now, cut off all attachment to any of this and diligently accomplish enlightenment by practicing Dharma according to your Lama's instruction. So this one was specifically aimed at the potential of us having a precious human existence, which was the first thought of everything being impermanent, so we should practice now, and that we have karma or tendencies that cause us to have pain or suffering or joy or bliss in our future, this life and our future life. And finally, three types of suffering. Now, they don't say what the three types of suffering are, but this is called conditioned existence. So is there any other kind of existence? That's what my question was when my teacher was giving this for 4 weeks. You know, at the end of the day, we get together with the teacher and we come up with all these questions about each one of these, and he'd have to almost answer my answer. But I said, well, if this is conditioned existence that has these three unfavorable situations, what is unconditioned existence? See, this is what this does. If that's the situation, what's the opposite? So you got 10 hours a day for 4 weeks to not only think of the situation as it is, but what if it wasn't that way? Okay? Which most people don't even have a clue about. You know, yeah, they know they're impermanent, so what? You know, they think they can do whatever they want. They don't believe in karma. You can see that. That's why the world is in such a mess. Okay? So unconditioned existence. Unconditioned existence means no judgment ever towards yourself, towards others, or the natural world. Now, that's really hard when, like on the mainland, they had this category 4 hurricane came to Alabama and like a knife, a mile wide, scraped everything away. For an hour and 15 minutes, it was on the ground, a mile wide, like a knife, right through Alabama. And there was 36 others of those going on at the same time. Oh, God saved me. That's all they could say about it. They don't have a clue. First of all, they don't have a clue about karma. They put themselves there. Nobody else said to go live in that place where this they call Hurricane Allen. You know, it's like living here in Hawaii. Nobody told you to come here and live in Hawaii just so you can experience hurricanes here. But that tornado, unbelievable. But that's the way life is. So conditioned existence means you don't put yourself in situations that are environmentally damaging or war zones or, where people are starving by the millions or where there's no water. You don't do that. So like that, you don't have this, you don't move yourself into conditioned existence. Well, the first law of not being in conditioned existence is to remove all judgment. That this is good and that's bad. But what I just said about that hurricane, that tornado, everybody's going to say, oh, that's really bad. Or those people really have bad karma, or some negative judgment. True or not true, don't judge. Don't even go there. Like Lama Risha said, never go into politics. And never practice religion. He told me that. I said, why? He says, because they're fully judgmental. And that causes pain and suffering. Oh. I said, well, what do? Live in a cave for the rest of my life? He said, that's a good idea. So I went to the North Shore of Honolulu and practiced. I did. I lived in a cave in Waimea for 6 months and practiced how to breathe.
And Nancy went to that cave.
It exists, doesn't it? There's 3 of them. I was in the upstairs one. The middle one's called the kitchen. That was a community cave. The bottom one at that time was inhabited by an Eskimo. He'd been in the bottom cave for 9 years, carving totems. But all I did was watch my breath, because that's what autobiography yoga, I was a Hindu at the time, said to do. But if you contemplate this one, my big question is, what are these 3 suffering? And I said, is it body, speech, and mind? Mama says, no. Conditioned existence itself based on judgment is unfavorable because it causes you to have drama. It causes you to say this is bad and that's good, which immediately causes attachment aversion. And if you say something superior or high, now you're arrogant, especially if you're aiming at yourself. And if you say there's low lights or everything's negative, inferior, then you become disenchanted. See? Your brain takes those and causes you secretions to go through your body that overtake you. You know? Anxiety, depression, fear, all of these things. 84,000 of these in conditioned existence. And so that's number 1. Number 2 is everything is changing all the time. That's the nature of the universe. This is an energy universe. We are energy feeders. And everything is constantly changing. Your body, sloughing off, everything, every day. In 7 years, you got a different body. Every cell in your body is replaced. Well, not only that, everything around you is constantly changing. Deteriorating is a better word. But lucky for us, we live in nature, so we can see everything recreating itself. Plant, new animal. I wake up every morning, all I hear around This animal life, dogs barking, birds chirping, chickens, giving, rats running on the roof, whatever. Animal life. See? But it's always changing. There's not a thing you can do to stop that. If you can't flow with the change, you're unhappy. Okay, oh, everything's good, okay? Good. Don't be attached because it's gonna go bad. Guaranteed. Oh, everything's bad. Well, relax, have some patience. Because if you reach the bottom, the only way to go is up. That's the way the universe moves. See? So that's number 2. Number 3 is the hardest pill to swallow. Emotion. Okay? The emotional energy, the drama field itself. Everything is laid on you from somebody else, out here. By nature, by animals, humans, and spirits, by constant change, and your own judgmental mind. That's number 3. And so for 4 weeks, from 3 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, 4, 2.5 hours, you got to sit there in your box. We're in a box, 2 by 3 foot this high. It's padded. It's nice, you know. You get that in there. Four ordinary preliminary practice. So we'll take this one, the defects of psychic existence. And sit with our back straight, head tilted, eyes in front, mouth closed, hands comfortable, and contemplate. The word contemplate in Tibetan is connected with the word of wisdom, yeshe mo, simply means to take it to heart. But more than that, in Tibetan Buddhism, it means to know. Deep down in your heart. And let this penetrate your stream of being, which means, yes, your body is impermanent, but your consciousness is not. And so I'll read these again, and then we'll do a meditation practice. to ease the strain of these four thoughts. This precious human body, which is free and well endowed, one first was contemplate that this precious human existence, which is free from the 8 unfavorable conditions of existence and well endowed with the 10 opportunities to practice Dharma, is very difficult to obtain and easily destroyed. So from now on, we must make use of it. Number 2, impermanence and death. Everything is impermanent, this world and all it contains. In particular, this life of beings is as fragile as a bubble of water. The time of death is uncertain, and when dead, our body will be nothing but a corpse. At that time, only Dharma is a benefit. So let us practice diligently now. Number 3, karma, cause and effect. Thirdly, at the time of death, we do not obtain freedom because our previous tendencies and actions take control of us. Let us therefore abandon harmful action and use our time to carry out beneficial action each and every day. Let us examine the stream of our being. And number 4, the defects of cyclic existence, that all places, friends, joys, and possessions in this cycle of existence continually torment us because of the 3 types of suffering. They are like a feast offered by the executioner when one is led to his execution. So cut off all attachment and diligently practice Dharma to gain enlightenment now, this life. Such are the 4 ordinary preliminary practices. Now, this is a pretty thick text, and that only takes up 2 sections, 2 little parts of it, 2 pages, we call it. These are pages. Back and front is 1 page. Page means book page in Tibetan. So here you have this whole 4 extraordinary practices is all the rest of this text. And it comes down to the very last page, and it gives you a dedication prayer. It says, through contemplation and meditation as virtuous activity, I now pray that all beings without exception experiencing the undying state of permanent bliss, which is beyond conception and beyond conditional existence. They do this by simply merging the knowledge and methods of these practices to come to realize their own true nature as simply the light and space of the energy of the universe. That's the summary. It's on the last page before the dedication prayer. So you have to go all through this. And why didn't they tell you this up front? It's like the small print when you do the DTO, down the fine print at the bottom, so you do this practice 111 times to gain some realization. Nungro, the preliminary practices of Nungro. Now, most lamas skip right over this, what we just did. They just throw you right into Chenrezig and Tara, Vajrasattva, Medicine Buddha, and the other 100 deity yogas with all of their consort yogas and everything, so you'll get healthy. Well, that's good. But you might also be developing a bigger ego, because if you don't have these foundation practices and the 2 bodhicittas in your heart, that this is only for everybody else. There's no such thing as separation. If you say everybody, that's you. You're everybody. Therefore, you must have responsibility for everybody. Well, right, that scares people. That's a scary thought. There's some really creepy characters out there. We have responsibility for them, yeah. In fact, the worse they are in your mind, the better, because they are the ones that need your loving kindness and compassion. And so all these creepy characters that you see on your tube televisions and on your iPhones and Facebook, okay, and on your computers with these light and dark web characters, and even in cartoons, are worthy of your loving kindness and compassion. Because they are suffering 1,000 times more than you are. That's my take. That's after contemplating these four thoughts. Okay. Now I thought it would be appropriate tonight if we did the 4 healing practices that we do every week, using the 4 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space as a psychic energy healing program. Those are very beneficial because they tune you up. Remember, we're energy feeders. And this energy is the universal life force support that we are breathing, drinking, eating, smelling, seeing, and touching. That's the only way we connect. Oh, there's no other way to connect with your body, speech, and mind. And through your body, you have these 5 sensual perceptions. Each one of these things that you do, what you see, smell, taste, touch, and feel, causes a hormonal reaction here. And this whole thing called the brain goes to work and spontaneously starts throwing stuff, we'll call it energy, secretion, down through your body. Now the worst of this, everybody says, why don't you say to that? Well, the worst of this is to be angry or hate, have hatred. Of all the 84,000 afflictions that we have to deal with in our emotional programming, these 2, especially for women, are the most undesirable because they cause your body to age rapidly. You know, age, wrinkles, blemishes, internal deterioration of the organ, droopiness, all this stuff. Hair falling out. So
You're getting gruesome.
I'm getting gruesome. Hatred and anger. Now, there's probably as many antidotes for that as there is for the opposite, which is attachment and desire. But attachment and desire, they don't give the same kind of secretion. They throw another thing in there called dopamine, which is very addictive. Now, one of the worst things that you can, I'll give you an example of how this is. Cheese. Everybody likes cheese. Rats like cheese. But you can go on YouTube, you can hardly find a recipe on the cook part of it that doesn't include cheese. Cheese is more addictive than heroin. And it causes your body to cancel out completely dealing using the immune system to deal with any kind of harmful cell in your body. Any kind. It is equal to sugar, which of course is what we get alcohol. So I'm just telling you this as an example that you don't have to have these reactions by actually eating them or smelling them or hearing them. You're just thinking about them is not a good idea. So don't even think about cheese. Ever. Make a frisbee out of your pizza. Now, in the concept of healing, we take the 4 elements and do the same thing. So this patterning that starts all up here, mostly through this, we call this third eye area of your body, the pituitary and pineal gland. Switch on all these energy centers, either through the eyes or through the thought process. And when they do, then the spontaneous effect is passed through the body with either a healing effect or opposite. So we're going to do the 5 element healing with that idea and more. We're going to say, okay, if this psychic energy is so powerful, it could cause one to immediately start to heal oneself. Simply using what the nature of the universe, these elements, which make everything in the universe, including your body, to work, then with that in mind, then you can relax. You can enjoy physical good health. I'm almost 81 years old. And my energy level's off the charts because I know, because Abby can test me. She knows. But I attribute a lot of this to this 5 elements healing, which is one of the first meditation practices they call it industry taught us on Maui in the 70s. And there was a teacher named Oli Nidal. He was very specialized with this from Karmapa, giving him the instruction of the 3 lights meditation, which is key, and this 5 elements healing. And he went all over the planet giving this practice. So sit with your back straight, hands on your knees or in your lap, head slightly tilted forward, mouth closed, tongue resting against the palate, and eyes taking in the energy program of space and light 2 feet in front. Breathe. Again, focus, meditate on your breath. Inhale, diaphragm expanding. Exhale, out your nose or your mouth, your choice. If you can, inhale through your nose. Inhale, diaphragm expand. Exhale. Then, with your imagination, start the 3 lights prana yoga practice of inhaling the air, visualizing it to be white light filling your lungs. The absorption breath or middle breath is the energy of the elements in the air pass through your body. Life support. Then these two together are exhaled out the nose as healing energy to your environment and everybody in it. Everyone in it. Blue light out the nose. Now we're going to do 3 healing breaths, holding the breath. And while this is taking place, you visualize this red light energy completely permeating every cell in your body, even your hair, down to your toes, your extremities, fingers, everywhere. Inhale white light. Diaphragm expands. Hold. Visualize the energy as red light flashing through every cell in your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out your nose is blue light to space. Inhale, white light fills the lungs. Hold, red light permeating your body to the count of 5. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Visualize the light force energy of the element, air, filling your lungs. White light. Hold. Diaphragm extended. Red light energy to every cell in your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale blue light out your nose to space. Now just normal breathing. 3 lights. The first 2 lights are healing your body-mind complex. That done, the sharing energy is out your nose available to everybody else. Is healing blue light. Then gather the 3 lights, take your focus off your breathing, and create in your heart chakra a particle of light as an energy program of the entire fabric of space and all the life forms that appear in space. Hold your focus on the particle in the center of your heart chakra. This is your connection to the first dimension of being. Then with your imagination, increase that particle in size until it creates a tiny bubble or sphere of clear light right in the center of your chest. And expand with your imagination that tiny sphere of blue light until it creates a half sphere of green light, like a bowl with a lid, about the size of your thumbnail. If you're watching, it looks like this. This is the symbol we're going to use, and you label that by visualizing it in the center of your heart. You label that air, which of course is all 5 elements in one symbol, but air predominantly for healing purposes. Life support, prana, and holding your focus on this symbol, see it exit out the front of your body and come up before your eyes, 2 feet in front. Then with your imagination, visualize it to expand in the size large enough that you can see your physical body just as you are sitting inside. It can be as large as the room you're sitting in. Then expand it in size, visualize it to be large enough so that this whole island of Kauai and surrounding ocean is inside. Or the town or area where you live. Sharing this healing energy expanded in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her atmosphere of air. Next, expand it with your imagination to completely enclose our solar system. Then expand it in size to completely enclose the galaxy. Finally, beyond conception, expanded to completely merge with our boundless fabric of space, our universe. Relax, increase your capacity for this dimension of being. Contemplate the infinite light of boundless space. If it stays green, that's okay. Then return from this state to again imagine the half sphere of green light, the air symbol to enclose the galaxy. So that all the beings in this dimension enjoy the same healthy effects you are. Imagine that. Then condense it in size to just enclosing our solar system. Smaller yet to just enclose Mother Earth. Then much smaller the area where you live, inside. Then again see your form enclosed by this half sphere of healing energy labeled air. The life support energy system of the entire universe. Premortal, universal, all of that. Then again, visualize it to its original small size, 2 feet in front of your eye. Bring it to chest level and then into your heart center. Reduce it in size to a small, tiny sphere of clear light. And further reduce it to just a particle of energy, like an atom. Connecting to basic space. Relax. Be present. Enjoy. The natural state of your own mind. Bring your awareness to in front of your eyes, expand it into your place of practice, and be healthy. If you do the three lights practice together with this five element every day, you'll have good results. It's already in your food. It should be in the clothes you're wearing, the house you're living in, the area around your house, your gardens and fruit trees, and so forth. It is the energy patterning of the weather, which is completely controlled by spirits, even though it is said that there are now man-made weather patterning control systems, which personally I don't think is a good idea, seeing as our track record is so miserable. But that's the main reason that we do these kind of practices and apply them to the spirit world, because this interconnection is healthy. To befriend spirits, to alleviate their pain and suffering, is a really good idea. And some of us know that it saves a lot of time and energy. For instance, artists, it affects their ability to produce very creative art. And gardeners, people that work with the plant world or insect world, beekeepers, I used to keep bees. I didn't find that very enjoyable, but it was a good connection to nature. And the bees appreciate it. I lacked a lot of appreciation, but I did my best. So anyway, this gets you rolling with this interconnection to our natural world and your natural mind. Because this code, these three lights meditation code, is functioning with your physical and mental properties in union. You know, just to watch the inhale and exhale does that. Just by settling, just by being peaceful. It gives your whole physical, mental situation a rest. Get the rest. You know, it's like sleeping. That's why in retreat, we didn't need much sleep. And when we did go to sleep, we just sat like this. And I put a couple of slats in the board behind my head so my head wouldn't fall over and get a kink. It was like this. And we go to bed about 9, 10, 11 o'clock, change every night. And up at exactly 3 o'clock every morning. And everybody in the retreat, all the 10 women in their area and the 10 men in our, all exactly 3 o'clock. And when we wake up, if you could call it waking up, because we really didn't go into the dense state of sleep, they call it fifth level of ignorance, not knowing. Remember, this is all about knowing. Knowledge and insight go together here. When we would wake up, we would grab our bell and dorji. Or at a certain stage in retreat, we bring up the bell and We had our own alarm system. Believe me, it worked. No cup of coffee needed. We drank tea and we shoot. No coffee. I'm just showing you this because you don't really go to sleep with these practices. The sleep stage is very important, like cats, or certain animals. One side of their brain goes to sleep, the other side is awake. And one part of their energy program is alert and the other is not. It's a survival thing, but it's also a very healthy thing. And so, like Abby found out she could talk to me at daytime during the night, and I answered. Whatever she's talking about. Yeah, I didn't have to go. Where's my coffee? Why are you waking me up? So it's really kind of wonderful. And then when you go into the dream state, you're dreaming. That doesn't mean you have to be involved with the dream state. At least you know you're dreaming. And when you wake up, if you don't like the dream, well, you can dissolve it into voidness, which is the nature of your mind. Voidness is the real reality of the universe. Your thoughts and everything in this universe come out of this spatial situation. And in a term, they call it voidness, or emptiness. But it's not real emptiness. It's just that it has infinite potential to create anything. And if you don't believe that, watch your dreams. Because I get some of the weirdest dreams. Not this life did I do that. But in my dreams, I'm doing that. Where'd that come from? That's this consciousness. It has this infinite potential program. And even in your waking state, all of a sudden you'll just know something. Women, you're really good at it. Intuitive. Like today, I had to find a place, and the guy didn't give me good direction. I had to make a delivery. So I did my own Marapatsanati Soha, which we're going to do that practice, non-jutsu. So I'm doing Om Marapatsanati, Om Marapatsanati, I'm driving Om Marapatsanati. I'm non-jutsu, everything's cool. And then I could see this guy getting in his truck, coming down the road in a red truck to meet me, because he knew I hadn't figured out where he property. I knew that. That was really cool. And here he comes, and then he swings around behind me and comes up and follow me. Thanks, Manjushri. Whatever part of my brain kicked that in. Manjushri doesn't exist. I mean, well, he used to, but he used to be a human being, they say. But this is a spiritual energy program. And it kicks this intuitive awareness thing. It works. That's all I ask you. It works, and it works appropriately. That's all we ask, Gives good effects, is appropriate, is beneficial. Well, do it. Don't have a big ego that you can do this. Women don't have big egos because they know everything intuitively. It's just like that because they're women and they're in charge of the creation process of the planet, just like the world around us is. The women in the natural world have a lot in common. Everything that appears. That's a lot. Anyway, we're going to do this Manjushri practice. And to simplify it, we gave it our Manjushri session, gave it to our daughter, Lyra, North Island, New Zealand. Now she has it on her shrine. But Manjushri is simply visualized as a spiritual entity of the embodying the idea of voidness, or what we say, illusory light. Everything is light energy, everything. dark light, light light. Light light appears as object. Dark light appears as nothing whatsoever, but it's a support to what appears. This is what the scientists know. They don't know what it is. They don't have a clue. Some of them think it is even not necessary, but we know better. But this energy of light is the illusory fabric of it exists and doesn't exist simultaneously. And it goes to the idea of impermanence, which we talked about earlier in the class. Second of the four thoughts, ordinary thought concepts. But this appears with a blazing sword like a god. You know, the gods and goddesses wear silks and jewels and everything's perfect. You know, it's like a formal program. You know. They have to wear tuxedos and things to go to dances. Well, in this world of heaven, they have this. So, but our deity is completely made of light, Manjushri. We use a male aspect because it's all about method to get an effect. Female aspect is all about the natural effect of creation. Whatever appears as a life support system, and that's the outer world. But how do you connect with the inner world? So this male deity has a blazing sword. It means it cuts through ignorance. It's symbolic. The clothing is 5 colors. That's the 5 elements. 6 kinds of jewelry. Well, that's the 6 bodhisattva discipline, which we practice. Sitting in full lotus shows discipline. And a sun and moon disk is the idea that these two light up our part of the universe, our solar system. So they're our energy program. Okay, the sun is associated with the female creation, and the moon is the male reflecting, and so forth. But in the left hand, the thumb and one of the fingers it's touching indicate what color a lotus appears. And it has to do with the element. So in this case, they use red and white. Well, red is the fire energy, white is the space energy. Well, that's the 2 aspects of our universe, light and space. And on it rests the wisdom text of the female Buddha, which is, we use the mantra of a lot. Gati Gati Paragati Parsangati Bodhisoha is Prajnaparamita, which is called the Heart Sutra. Now, the Heart Sutra is based on this idea of inside, outside, or intuitive knowledge, intuitive insight, and knowledge, knowing how to use it. That's another aspect of the women have a little better than that. But the most important aspect is this is all about everybody else. This is a heart-connecting, symbolic energy program of embodying the altruistic motivation. So when you visualize yourself as a deity, everybody in the universe is the same, equal. Well, this isn't just really for you. That's why it worked. Like today, that guy was the Manjushri. He knew I was not finding where I was supposed to go. He could come into me. See? So I visualized him as Manjushri, myself as Manjushri, everybody in the area. Cats, dogs, rats, everybody. So that's how it works. It connects. It's a grid. It's a code. However you want to think about it. A logarithm. Did they say that right? A logarithm? Like we do with our computer. Okay, so Manjushri, with the sword in the sky, we visualize. Now, how do we indicate this? It's with sound. So Bu is the light, Da is the patterning, or the vibration. So D is a universal vibration of the Sanskrit language indicating sound. And so it is the creation symbol of light, because all light has a vibratory toning, and all light has a thermal signature. So we indicate this D, this symbol, this letter actually of the Sanskrit language, in red. And we place it in 3D in our heart center, about the size of that little half sphere of green light that we use for this meditation. And this D also sits on the sun and moon disk and Lodi, and is surrounded by 5-colored sphere, which is the 5 elements and 5 states of awareness that we use in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So I'm showing you that. That's the creation sutra. So you'll be focusing on the D in your heart center in 5-colored sphere. You as the deity, and then everybody equal. Everybody is this deity. Every animal, human, and spirit in the universe. So if you apply it to this planet, that's an infinite number of beings. Because you can't count the number of animals in the ocean around the land. So we have 8 billion humans, and then we have all these spirits, countless spirits. So the whole mind is full, like the universe is full of Manjushri. Then you say the mantra. Now the mantra is only because you applied the sound D, the vibrational patterning, and this spiritual entity, Manjushri, to everyone equally. That causes the heart mantra to appear. The D is a connection to the root lama and all the lamas and everybody that does Manjushri. There's thousands and thousands of people all over the planet, 24 hours a day, doing this practice. So you're locking into a web, a grid. So you're not alone in it. That brings more energy into your practice. Also, it connects to the lineage, which goes back 2,600 years to Shakyamuni Buddha that started all of this coding stuff. So let's do it. Back straight, head tilted, mouth closed, hands comfortable, eyes focused in front. Three lights, breathing, bring your focus to your breath. Inhale, white light, hear the sound, Om. The infinite state of light force and clarity of the universe. Inhale that white light into your lungs, Om. The energy processed through your body, Ah. Hear the sound, Ah. Red light. Then these two together, out the nose is blue light, you hear the sound of the demon code word, Boom. Inhale, white light, Boom. Energy patterning to the body, Om. Both out the nose is blue light, Boom. Now take the focus off the breath with three lights. Directly in front of you, visualize the root lama and all the lamas and all the humans doing this Manjushri practice on this planet. Around you in vast numbers. The Lama transforms into the deity Manjushri with 3 lights marking his white Om in his head, red Ah in his throat, and a blue hole in the heart. Then you connect by setting the 5-colored light in the D to the Lama and all the Lamas and students doing this practice. And to all the lineage holders, all the lineage teachers, masters. They accept your light offering, and with the 3 lights, Om and on home, they return into your 3 places. So now inside you is the Om, Ah, and the Om in the central channel. Visualize the white Om and a white sphere in your head move down the central channel and merge with the red Ah in your throat. This is empowering your thinking and your speech. Then these 2 together move down into your heart chakra and merge with the Om. Now you are empowered as Manjushri. Visualize yourself as this illusory body program, code. Then you send this image of you as Manjushri to your mother who created you. You see her life-size in front as the deity. Then you extend it to all mother sentient beings, all the animals, all the humans, and all the spirit. In your mind, you can think of the whole universe full of sentient beings. This causes the heart mantra to appear. These letters are arranged around the D inside the 5-colored sphere in your heart center. And you sound them with your speech. Om, Om, Ram, Pa, Sa, Nam, Ti, So, Ha. Om, Ara, Sa, Nam, Ti, So, Om, Ara, Sa, Nam, Ti, So, Om, Ara, Sa, Nam, Ti, So, Om Arapansa Nadi So 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 Om Arapansa Nadi So. So you're meditating on 3 things simultaneously. The D and the mantra surrounding it inside the 5-colored sphere. All of that is called the Tigli or Bindu. And the D and the mantra are repatterning your body with energy. And then this healing energy goes out to all sentient beings as Manjushri, starting with your mother and all mother beings equal. And those are the 3 things. So the D and its 5-colored sphere. The mantra, the letters are faced outward in a circle around the D, and they together with the D emanate blazing healing energy through your body as Manjushri, then that escapes as healing energy available to all other beings in your environment. Then the same thing is going on with every being in your mandala. So the mandala, you as Manjushri, and the seed syllable with the mantra. Those three, one for the body, one for the speech, one for the mind. Om Aram Nadi Soma. 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 So your intuitive awareness is being amplified, being expressed. And the purpose is so you know, but not only know, but the effect of knowing, how to use it on both the relative and ultimate levels. Relative is for others, ultimate for you. Om Aram Nadi Soma. 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 To finish, you dissolve everything in your mandala, everyone, into you. You, as Manjushri, disappear into the mantra. The mantra disappears into the deed and the five-pillared sphere, which disappears into boundless state. Relax. Then at the end of the New Grove practice, we're going to read the dedication prayer, which is the very last page of the 4 ordinary, preliminary, and 4 extraordinary. And you have it at the bottom of the refuge sheet. And it goes like this. Dewa di nirdu dan, chalga jempo, juju ni, doa chinking malupa, te sama gopa shu, sanjay kusun nempai jimla dan, shoni migur nempai jimla dan, yendu viche dupai jimla ki, chitar goma homram jupa shu. By this virtue of having realized Mahamudra, may I quickly establish all beings without a single exception in this state of wisdom, with the blessing of the Buddhas to obtain the 3 bodies, with the blessing of the unchanging truth of this Dharma, and through the blessing of the unwavering aspiration of us, the Sangha. May this dedication prayer be fulfilled. May the virtues of this flow to all beings who see, hear, recite, and touch it. May they all be born in the pure lands of great light. This was said by Karmapa. You should say, thank you very much for good virtuous practice, good karma practice. You should say, thank you. Aloha, mahalo.